Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the RetraxONE XR on a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500. Now for the tools I'll be using for this installation, we've got a 1/8 inch and 6mm Allen wrench that are both included in our kit. I'll also need a 9/16 wrench, a Phillips head screwdriver, a utility knife, a small level, and a tape measure. Now make sure you're subscribed to our channel to stay up to date with our latest content. Let's go ahead and get started. Now the way this comes out of the box, you're gonna have some packaging materials that are in there from shipping. So we've got this bracket that's right here that just kind of holds the canister in place, holds the blanket from falling out. We've also got this spiral. So what we're gonna do on both sides, we're gonna go ahead and pull the spiral out. So here's our tube. It just kind of spins right out. We're gonna discard that, and then we're gonna take a Phillips head screwdriver and pull this screw out of the shipping bracket here. Now there's one on each side. You're gonna retain one of these because we're gonna use it as a spacer later, and then just go ahead and discard the other one. Now to get this all the way out, once you've got the screw out, you also want to go ahead and unlatch the cover. So typically these are locked from the manufacturer. So what we're going to do is take a key, put that in there, unlock it, press this button, and that unlatches. And that will also release this to where this can come out. Then we're going to go ahead and latch that back into place for right now, and repeat the same process of removing packaging equipment from the opposite side. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm holding this in place because just the weight of the cover a lot of times wants you to kind of pull it out of the canister. So I'm just kind of holding it in place. What we're going to do next is go ahead and pop this back open. We want this unlatched when we slide the rail in place, otherwise we won't be able to get that rail in place. Now this is our driver's side rail. When I flip it upside down, you're going to notice we've got kind of one tab here that's going to go up and line up to this hole up here. And then back here, we've got a small hole right here that is going to come in and line up to this hole here. So what we're going to do is this open channel that we have, these ball bearings are going to slide into. So we're going to go ahead and pick this up, line it up, let it kind of roll out a little bit, and then slide the rail up in place. Next, we're going to line up those parts to the holes, and bring those in and drop it down. All right, now what we're going to see is the holes will line up here and here. What we're going to do is take the silver machine screws out of our kit, use our Phillips head screwdriver to put them in, line them up to these locations and tighten them down. Now the holes in the rail are actually threaded. So we're going to line those machine screws up to catch the threads and then tighten that down. All right, now we're going to come back to the second hole. Make sure the rail is pulled all the way up against the side of the canister. And do the same thing. Line up the machine screw and tighten it into the hole in the rail. All right, now once both of those are tightened up, I like to go ahead and bring the canister back and then go ahead and lock that down. What that does is that helps this to bite down onto the rail. I'll repeat the same process on the opposite side. Now because this is the RetraxONE, it's only biting down on one side. So we can go ahead and install the other rail right now. If this was the Pro where it had latch mechanisms on both sides, we would not want to lock that down until the other rail was already installed. Okay, next what we've got is our canister cover. Now I'm going to turn this to the side so you can see towards the front, towards the cab, we're going to have the seal. Then we've got kind of this wedge that's in here, and this portion right here is going to go into the rails. So we're just going to kind of line it up. If you notice, we've got some holes that are threaded. Those are going to line up to these holes inside the rail. Now, it is a good idea to take your the factory screws that comes with it and go ahead and run it through those holes real quick, just to make sure you clear out any kind of powder, this residual that's inside there. That way you're not having to fight through it while you're trying to line things up. So we're just going to go ahead and slide this in like so. And then we're going to take one of our provided screws. It's an Allen head screw along with the provided Allen wrench. Make sure those holes are lined up, and then go ahead and run that in. We're going to do that on both sides. All right, next what we want to do is get the help of a friend, lift this up and set this inside the bed of the truck. Now this seal, you want to make sure it's kind of pulled back to lay on top of your bulkhead. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure the seal is laid over top of the bulkhead. You'll also notice that we've got a little extra seal coming out the sides. We're going to go ahead and trim that down and use a utility knife, because that right now is going to go over top of the bed caps. That needs to be trimmed to the bed caps. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here's our seal. It's going over top of the bulkhead. Here's the extended piece that's going over top of the bed cap. We need to go ahead and trim it. I'm just going to use a utility knife. Come right along here. Kind of make the cut straight back. Then once you make that cut, I like to lift up on the canister, pull that out, and finish that cut straight down. And that just drops into place. And then we can go ahead and slide the canister all the way up over top of the bulkhead. Make sure it's all the way up to the bulkhead of the truck. Okay, now with the tailgate up, we're going to go ahead and set the alignment of the rail. Now, this is the open channel of the rail that cover slides back and forth in. Down at the end, this piece right here needs to be 1/8 of an inch away from your tailgate. So in your shipping packaging material, you're going to have that bracket. If we turn that upside down, this portion of the bracket is designed to be a 1/8 inch spacer. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that in place like so. Then we're going to grab the rail and slide the entire thing back. And we want to get it right at 1/8 of an inch. And repeat the same on the opposite side. Okay, now what we're going to do is, before we set the clamps, I want to make sure everything is ready for the clamps to be set. So if I raise this up, you'll see our plastic bed cap cover that comes down over top of the metal flange that we're going to be attaching to, right? So if I push on this, you'll notice that it kind of wiggles back and forth. There's actually a little bit of a gap between this bed cap and the metal flange. We need to fill that gap. So in our kit, we've actually got some shims that are going to go in between that metal bed cap and that plastic flange. So we're going to slide that up in place, make sure that's all the way up in there. This way, when this comes down, when we clamp down in here, it doesn't just cause that to sag in. We'll also want to make sure we do that on the front side before we attach the rear clamp, because once this rear clamp is attached, it's a lot more difficult to get a shim wedged up in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one too. I'm just going to peel that back, wedge that up in place. Next, what you also want to do before we attach the clamps, make sure the cover is centered side to side. And then once you do that, double check, make sure these set screws are coming all the way back in and touching the bed caps. If they're not touching the bed caps, you want to take the larger Allen wrench that's in your kit and turn these either in or out to make sure that this is, number one, centered, and also these screws, these set screws, are touching the bed caps, because that's going to maintain the correct gap. Now I'm going to go ahead and set the rear clamp. The way these clamps work on the XR rails, what you're going to want to do first of all is I like to just pull all the slack out of the clamp. So I like to unscrew it as far as it will go. All right, now you'll notice too, we've got a couple of screws that are holding the back side of the clamp on. This is an adjustable rear side of the clamp. So what you'll do is you'll take and you'll lift this up into place and see where the clamp rests on the inside. We want that clamp to be all the way up to the top of the bed cap in there. That gives you the best secure clamping. So if you need to adjust that, basically what you do is you take a Phillips head screwdriver and you undo these screws, you loosen them up, and that can raise or lower and get it to the desired position and then tighten them back down. At the all the way down position, the lowest position, that's actually the best place for this particular application, so I don't need to adjust that up. So we're going to go ahead and slide that up in place, hold the clamp together, and then by hand first go ahead and start tightening that down. And then once we get it in place, we're going to go ahead and tighten that down and get it nice and snug. All right, next you'll also notice we've got this long bolt down here. This is our standoff bolt. So what we want to do is we want to turn this bolt to where this rubber stopper goes all the way up against the inside of our bed. All right, once that makes connection, I'm just going to take a quick bullet level and set it in place, and just to see where everything is at. We actually do want to have a slight angle up to this. That way, any kind of runoff water that goes inside this channel doesn't roll back into the bed, but it kind of is trapped inside the channel. That way, it can roll to the canister and then out the drain tubes from the canister or between the tailgate and the bed, depending on which way the truck is slanted. So once this has made contact, if that bullet level is directly in the center, we want to make sure that it's brought over to where the bubble is kind of closest to the line over here. You want to have about a 2-degree pitch on that. Once that's set in place, we're going to take this jam nut and we're going to rotate it all the way down to the clamp and get that snugged up. We're using a 9/16 wrench for all of this hardware here. All right, we'll repeat the same on the next clamp up. Tighten down the clamp. Perfect. Next, what we're going to do is go ahead and peel off the protective coating that is on the canister. All right, now we're going to go ahead and install our drain tubes. We got 2 drain tubes, one for each side. So I'm going to show you how to install this one. The other one installs the exact same way. So you're going to have the drain cup at the very top. You've got a washer that's on top of that drain cup. What you're going to do is go to the bottom of the canister and find the hole in the bottom of the canister. Go ahead and insert that up into the hole while you're pressing up, twist, and you should hear it click 2 times. And once it's clicked into place, we can go ahead and route the other end of the drain hose out the bed of the truck. Now, if you've got a plastic drop-in liner, typically there's going to be a hole around your tie-down cleats. You can just route it out that hole. If you have a bed rug or a Husky Premium fiber liner, you can cut a hole in the backside of that and route it through there. And if you don't have anything like that, if you have just a regular spray in, find an appropriate hole. There's a hole here. Probably would need to be widened out just a little bit to route this out. Just repeat that on the opposite side as well. All right, next what we want to do is make sure that our rails are parallel. So what we're going to do is at the front clamping location, we're going to measure between the insides of the rails with a tape measure. Once we get that measurement, we're going to take and make sure that it is the same measurement between the clamps at the back side. This is the same. Now, if yours are not the same, what you'll want to do is lower these 2 clamps. Go ahead and drop those clamps. And then use that larger Allen wrench to adjust our set screws to bring the rails either in or out to make sure it's matched to the front width. Now, you also want to make sure that those set screws are the same on both sides so that everything is parallel. Once everything is locked in, we can go ahead and close the cover. Pop that up. All right, now we're going to go ahead and remove all of the packaging material on the top. Well, that concludes the installation. If you found this video helpful, make sure and give us a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the product, check the link in the description below. And as always, if you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online.